Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the newly formed Ududuwa Nation.
Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko nílé àjò. Ètò yìí ó máa dúró lórí wípé ìkan náà ni wọ́n jẹgúdújẹrá. Gbogbo àwọn tá ń pè politicians ìkan náà ni wọ́n. Ẹ̀hùn kí n tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ máa fi Ọlọ́run ṣe aṣíwájú. Ògo ni fún Baba, ògo ni fún Ọmọ, ògo ni fún Ọlọ́run Ẹ̀mí Mímọ́ bí ó ti wà láti tìkọ́ ṣóńbẹ nísìn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni yóò sì máa rí ní ìgbà gbogbo ayé ànípẹ̀kun àní. Jehovah, Jésù Kristi Olúmaìkì ẹ̀ mímọ́ jùlọ Ọlọ́run. Adúpẹ́ gbogbo rere lórí wa tẹ́ ọ mọ̀ pé gbàyìn wa. Dárí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ jù wá. Olúwa mi yẹ ètò náà sí mímọ́. Orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá náà ó dọwọ́ rẹ̀. Ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ kó máa ṣe aṣíwájú alátìlẹ́yìn. Àwọn màmá wa mo dúpẹ́ Onítìrí Abíọ́lá àti gbogbo àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ náà. Dúró tì wọ́n lẹ́yìn, má tì wọ́n lójú. Gbogbo ogun tó dìde sí wọn tó lè fẹ́ dìde ṣẹ́gun Olúwa ni. Ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ kó máa ṣe olùdarí. Àmín lórúkọ Kristi. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko nílé àjò. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ, ètò yìí ó máa dúró lórí ìkan náà ni wọ́n, gbogbo wọn jẹgúdújẹrá. Ṣùgbọ́n ká tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò náà mo fẹ́ kẹ́ wo àwọn video clips tó wà lórí fọ́nrán wa. Ká wo àwọn video clips tó wà lórí fọ́nrán wa. Àwọn video clips yẹn náà la máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí.
University, CSU, yesterday on the order of Judge Nancy Maldonado of United States District Court of Illinois, released the academic records of President Bola Tinubu in its custody. Although the institution failed to produce an original copy of Tinubu's 1979 certificate, in its response to request number 2, and I quote, CSU does not in the ordinary course keep copies of students' diploma and after diligent search cannot locate a copy of the original diploma prepared for Mr. Tinubu in 1979, hence has no document responsive to this request, end of quote. The release document stated. But the university was able to produce diploma certificates of other graduates not requested by Atiku. The release documents, as suspected by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, exposed variations in signatories and logo, as well as revealing the fact that the president attended the university after he graduated from Government College, Lagos in 1970. Maldonado had, in a ruling, ordered CSU to make all requested documents available before the court by noon yesterday, Chicago time. The released documents contained 32 documents. Tinubu's primary and secondary education, like his university, had remained subject of major controversy. Besides, the variations in the names of signatories in the certificate and number of persons who signed various certificates issued in 1979, there was also a huge variation in the logo of the institution.
Talking to students, and one of them said that Harvard was the best school in law, in teaching of law. I said, whose law? Nigerian law, Ugandan law, Zimbabwean law. They can only be best in teaching their law, not ours. And I've seen we who are in this space of education, somebody spends 6 years at Unilag, and when they go to Harvard or Stanford for 3 weeks for a short course where they spend most of the time taking tea, he comes back and says, an alumni of Harvard. So the time is now. The time is now to begin re-educating ourselves. The time is now to exercise the ghost of low self-esteem. You know, Africa has many things. We have talked about our mineral resources. We've talked about our arable land. We have talked about many things, but from where I sit, the greatest African resource is the human resource. You know, Africa has been so wronged by other civilizations. We were the enablers of the first industrial revolution. When our ancestors were taken to work in the farms in Europe, we enabled that revolution. Right now, we are enabling the fourth industrial revolution and the fifth industrial revolution. That is why they have talent visas, because they are taking our talent. If it is not nurses, it is our IT gurus. If it is not our IT gurus, it is our engineers. And we are gleefully letting them away. I see our heads of state saying, we have signed a contract to take our workers to Saudi Arabia, modern day slavery. And you know, just this morning, my wife sent me a proverb from Turkey that when you elect a clown and you think that he will be a king, what he does is to convert the kingdom into a circus. And I am suggesting to us that that is part of the African problem, because it starts with political hygiene. Most of Africa is suffering because we do not have democracies. We have kakistocracies. And kakistocracies are governments by our very worst. This is what we must deal with, and this is what we must say. Who do we elect into our public offices? Because, as I've said before, when you allow hyenas to take care of goats, why should you be surprised when the goats are eaten? This is the same. And Africa is only going to realize our potential in all areas when, by dint of choice, we enable and allow our best men and women to serve in different areas. I've heard it being said about Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. I've heard it being suggested about Mahathir Mohamad in Malaysia. I've heard it being said about Japan. I've heard it being said about other countries. But there was a conscious decision on the part of those individuals and the followership. We always talk about leaders, but we never talk about the followers. The followers must also style up. Africans on average are for some reason attracted to thieves. Africans are for some reason attracted to men and women who cannot serve her. And when they are not served, then they complain. When Africans are told, choose you now whom we shall release, Jesus of Nazareth or Barabbas, they say, release Barabbas. And when Barabbas behaves like Barabbas, they say, why are you not behaving like Christ? It cannot be done. And this is what we must do. And I am submitting to us that it can be done and it should be done. I know a number of African countries, and I travel this continent sufficiently to know that there are African countries that are doing well. They are trying. There is no nation without trials and tribulation. We are fond of talking about the United States of America as an exemplar of that which is good and bad. When they said in 1776 that they held certain truths to be self-evident, that all men were born equal, that they were endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable right, that among those who are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, were blacks included? No, they were not. Did they not fight a civil war? Yes, they did. Are they not frustrating people until 1963? Did George Floyd, was he not killed only recently? There is not a single nation without trials and tribulation. And we must therefore remind ourselves that we have the wherewithal to catapult Africa into a different orbit.
Mo kí wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn video clips tá wò lójú fọ́nà wa, kí ni àwọn video clips náà sọ, kí la fẹ́, kí ni ẹ̀kọ́ tá máa kọ́ ńbẹ̀. Ẹ̀kọ́ tá máa kọ́ ńbẹ̀ ni pé tá bá wo gbogbo àwọn tá ń pè politicians àti ẹni tó súyàn o àti ẹni tá sùn sí kóòtù, olè kan náà ni wọ́n. Èèyàn kan tó sọ pé kí wọ́n prove educational background ti èèyàn kan, ẹ sọ fún ẹni ẹ fúnra ẹ̀ wípé gbogbo tax record tó ti ń san láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó ti ní ilé iṣẹ́, tó ra ilé sí àwọn Arabian countries, kó kó gbogbo àwọn tax record yẹn jáde. Àtíkù tó sùn Tinubu, ẹ sọ fún ẹ sọ pé kí wọ́n kó ní òun náà wípé tax record tó ń san lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà bá ṣe wà lórí gbogbo ilé iṣẹ́ tó ní sí orílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà àti gbogbo èyí tó ní sí òkè òkun, ẹ máa rí pé àtẹni tó sùn yẹn o àtẹni tá sùn, olè kan náà ni gbogbo wọn. Gbogbo àwọn politicians tí àwọn tí orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà gbẹ́kẹ̀lé, olè, kò sí òótọ́, kò dẹ̀ lè sí òótọ́ lẹ́nu wọn. Tá bá gbọ́ nǹkan tí Molumba sọ nínú ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀, pé gbogbo àwọn tí ẹ ń pè wrong leaders ni gbogbo àwọn leaders tá ń yàn, wrong leaders ó ní gbogbo àwọn leaders tá ń yàn. Ọ̀rọ̀ pé àwa tá ń yàn wọn gangan fúnra wa, a gbọ́dọ̀ change mindset wa. Nítorí query educational background wọn, query tax record wọn, query iye owó tí wọ́n ní l'account, query ilé tí wọ́n ní lókè òkun. Àwọn pípù yìí, àwọn ló ń jẹ, àwọn ní jẹgúdújẹrá, àwọn náà ló ra ilẹ̀ gbogbo lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ń kọ́ estate upon estate, tí wọ́n gbé factory jókòó, tí wọ́n pe àwọn amúnisìn tó yẹ kó àwọn amúnisìn náà tún lò láti máa jẹ yín. Ṣùgbọ́n kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Àwa ọmọ onílùú fúnra wa query pé a fẹ́ rí gbogbo tax record wọn, number one. A fẹ́ kí wọ́n declare wealth wọn. Báwo lẹ ṣe generate gbogbo wealth in a short time? Níbo ni gbogbo wealth ti wá? Báwo ló ṣe wọlé? Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tí a yàn àti àwa tá a yàn wọ́n, olè, ẹ̀wọ̀n almost the same thing là ń ṣe. Ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tó tètò dúró lórí ni pé gbogbo wọn pátápátá olè ni wọ́n. Àtíkù o, Tinubu o, gbogbo àwọn tá ń pè politicians o, olè ni gbogbo wọn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká béèrè, ẹ sọ pé kí wọ́n gbé gbogbo investment wọn jáde. Nǹkan tí wọ́n máa ń ṣe lórílẹ̀‐èdè míì nìyẹn. Orílẹ̀‐èdè míì wọ́n máa ń sọ kó declare wealth investment so far láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ títí dé sìn, wealth so far láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ títí dé sìn, ẹ̀wọ̀n ilé tó ní lókè òkun láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ títí dé sìn, tax, báwo ló ṣe ń san tax lórí gbogbo kìíní. Ìyẹn la fi máa mọ irú àwọn leaders tá ń yàn. Ìyẹn ni ó máa reveal gbogbo àwọn iṣẹ́ ibi tí wọ́n ti ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn amúnisìn. Ṣùgbọ́n tó ń bá àpérí wọn, òun ló ń jẹ́ kí ìyà kó máa jẹ àwọn ọmọ nílùú. Nǹkan tí ètò ìdúró lórí nìyẹn. Àtíkù fúnra ẹ sọ pé kó gbogbo tax record tó ti ń san lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà látìgbà tó ti nílé iṣẹ́, ẹ fẹ́ kó gbé jáde. Ẹ fẹ́ kó gbogbo tax record tó ní, gbogbo tax tó ń san sí gbogbo ilé tó ní lókè òkun, a fẹ́ mọ gbogbo ẹ̀. Àti ní ti Tinubu, irọ́ gbogbo wọn pa fúnra wọn. Ní ìsìn afẹ́mọ ti Àtíkù náà, afẹ́mọ ti Peter Obi, afẹ́mọ ti gbogbo àwọn presidential candidate, afẹ́mọ ti gbogbo àwọn politicians, honourable, senator, afẹ́mọ gbogbo ẹ̀. Ẹ máa rí pé irọ́ ni gbogbo wọn pa. ọ̀nà kan tó wà ní Yorùbá nation, ọ̀nà kan níbi tó yẹ pé a máa lè ṣe kíni, a máa lè probe Yorùbá gẹ́gẹ́ bí Yorùbá. Kò ní sí pé Yorùbá kan lọ sá sí abẹ́ Haúsá, àbúsá sí abẹ́ political party kan. Àwọn nǹkan tó fi ń gbá wa lójú nìyẹn. Political party cult ni political party, kò sí fún orílẹ̀-èdè. Political party kì í ṣe fún orílẹ̀-èdè, cult ni. Cult tó yẹ pé tó bá jáde níbàyí o lè sá sẹ́yìn eléyìí, tó bá jáde mẹ́yẹn o lè sá sẹ́yìn eléyìí. Nǹkan tí political party wà nìyẹn. So ẹ jẹ́ ká jí dìde ọ̀nà kan oní Yorùbá nation, ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jí dìde, ẹ jẹ́ ká parapọ̀ ká gbé ìjọba Yorùbá wọlé. Ọ̀nà kan tó wà fún wa nìyẹn. Ọ̀nà tó yẹ pé Yorùbá ó máa ṣe kí ni, ó máa probe Yorùbá. Yorùbá ò ní lè lọ sá sábẹ́ Haúsá àbí kó sọ pé òun sá sábẹ́ political party kan. No, a máa ṣe àyẹ̀wò fínífíní, a máa mọ wẹ́ẹ̀fì wọn, tax record wọn, ilé tí wọ́n ní sókè òkun, gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n ní, bí wọ́n ṣe lọ sí school, everything a máa mọ̀. Ìyẹn ni solution tó wà nílẹ̀. Kí Olúwa kó bùkún fún wa. Orí ọ̀fẹ́ tí ògo ní fún Baba, ògo ní fún Ọmọ, ògo ní fún Ọlọ́run mọ́. Bí ó ti wà láti ní kọ́ ṣe ń bẹ nísìn, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó sì máa rí nígbà gbogbo ayé ànípẹ̀kun àmì Jehovah. Jésù Kristi olùmáìkẹ́. Olúwa Ọlọ́run ni a dúpẹ́ oore gbogbo. Orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá náà dọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ gbàkóso lórúkọ Kristi. Mo tọrọ gbogbo orí ọ̀fẹ́ tí Baba, tí Ọmọ, tí Ọlọ́run máa ṣe Olúwa kó balẹ̀ tí mo tọrọ. Àmín, àmín, àmín lórúkọ Kristi. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the newly formed Ududuwa nation.